Welcome back to another 31 Days of Horror 2018 video. What are the 31 Days of Horror? Well, during the 31 days of October, I tried to watch 31 horror films I've never seen before, or I simply do not remember ever having seen before. It happens. We are on to movie 23 with Independence Day Resurgence. Yes. Now you'll see Leslie isn't here. She's not big into sci-fi, aliens, or action, so not quite her thing. Though I was going to try and get her to watch it because apparently she had seen, well, at least portions of the first Independence Day. When I asked her about it, she was like, yeah, that's the movie where the White House explodes, right? And I was like, yeah, that one. But that's all she could remember of it. So, yes, here it is, me. I thought I'd go something, bigger budget after doing some much lower budgets in the past couple ones. So, yes, this is from 2016. It is the sequel to the very, very popular, and oddly enough, I really dig Independence Day. I have this thing where, like if it ever showed up on television, I would just watch it. Like I would just leave it on, and I don't know, I'm like drawn to it. So as soon as I heard that there was going to be a sequel, I was like, yes! And I didn't go to see it in theaters. I wanted to. I really, really, really wanted to, but I didn't. So, yeah. I got it on Blu-ray, finally watching it. And, yeah. So, if you haven't seen the original Independence Day, might as well stop watching this video now. Go watch the original Independence Day, because there's going to be some spoiler type stuff going on here in what I say with regards to the first film. I'll try and keep it spoiler free for the second film, obviously, even though it's, well, you know what it is. So this essentially takes place 2 decades after the first film. Earth has been unified ever since, knowing that aliens would someday once, return. So they've been using the technology they gained from the aliens to help, beef up, the Earth, essentially. So they've got moon bases and Saturn bases and bases out in space and, planetary defense systems and all sorts of stuff. Yet at this, like they have spaceships and like they don't have helicopters anymore. They have levitating that look like helicopters, but they use levitation to fly around apparently now rather than, like jet propulsion. Yet for some reason they still have regular cars, and they have like alien laser guns, but they still carry pistols. There's a lot of little weird things going on in this film, but whatever. It is what it is. Apparently that's the way it works. Again, this is directed by Roland Emmerich. And if you don't know who Roland Emmerich is, then I can't help you, because honestly, the dude's done he's done everything. He's done everything. The guy he's a producer, he's a writer, he's a director. I mean, in terms of directing, we've got Making Contact, Moon 44, Universal Soldier. This is when he's starting out. Stargate, Independence Day, Godzilla, The Patriot, The Day After Tomorrow, 10,000 BC, 2012, White House Down, etc., etc. We'll just say. And then I'm pretty sure he is slated to do Independence Day 3. Because, popular. The film has returning characters. Jeff Goldblum reprises the role of David Levinson, and actually has a major part in the film. It's not just a little bit part there. And of course, you got to know who Jeff Goldblum, from The Fly and Jurassic Park movies, etc., etc. And then we've got Judd Hirsch revises his role as David's father, for a little bit of comedic aspects, but he's not in it too much. He's in it very, very little. It's he had almost a very supporting role in the first film. It's not so much in this one. Again, honestly, I would mostly know him from Independence Day. If anybody was to say, where do you know him from? It's from Independence Day. But if you ever watched the television series Numbers, he was I've watched many episodes of it, but I've never actually watched the entire series. But he's Alan Epps. Is it Epps? Epps? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, he's in all sorts of stuff. Dear John USA, Taxi. I think that's kind of where the older audiences probably know him from, because he was Alex Rieger, and that's see, my parents watched Taxi and they had it on, but I didn't really like it. I've never really I still don't care much for Taxi. Sorry, Danny DeVito and rest of cast. I just wasn't really into it. Never have been. But yeah, Judd Hirsch reprises his role. Who else reprises his role? Bill Pullman reprises his role as the president. Whitmore. He again has a very sort of small role. He essentially reprises the role he had, but he's no longer president because it's 20 years later. He is more. He's kind of like he's still like as you always call the president, even after they're no longer the president. It's a thing. But he because of the alien stuff and that happened in the first film, he's kind of wonky, and old age is a little wonky and such and such. So he's there, and he plays a little role there. If you don't know who he is, the guy's been in like everything. I'm trying to think. Know him most from Independence Day, but Spaceballs. Early young version of Spaceballs. He was Lone Star. I'm trying to think of if you saw the Newsboys or A League of Their Own or Summersby. See, these aren't they're not genre movies, so I'm trying to think. Lost Highway. He was Fred Madison. Lake Placid. Lake Placid. He's Jack Wells. That would be your best genre film from that you'd find him in. Coming back again is Data. Data reprises his role. That's Brent Spiner. And I say Data because that's where everybody knows him from. He is Data from the Star Trek. And so he reprises his role. He was also, because of the events that happened in the first film, he's essentially in a coma until the aliens return in the second film, and then he wakes up from his coma because he can, because the same type of thing with Bill Pullman's character and the president, because of the interactions with the aliens, they kind of, can sense them and stuff like that. So he's back. New characters. This, unfortunately, Will Smith is not in this film. He does not come back. In fact, they make a point of saying he dies because his son is now a pilot in the Air Force. In fact, he is an icon to the world. That's played by Jesse T. Usher as the son of Will Smith. Not Will Smith, but Dylan Hiller. Yeah. So I didn't recognize him at all, honestly. I couldn't think of anything that I might have seen him in. And when I looked him up, I still didn't recognize anything I had seen him in. So, yeah. I guess he was in a show called Survivor's Remorse, where he played Cam Calloway. Never heard of it, never seen it. So, there's that one. Bill Pullman has a daughter, yes. The daughter of President Whitmore, Patricia Whitmore, is played by Maika Monroe. Kind of a bit part, kind of a... There are so many characters in this film, and they all have these small little things that sort of form a piece of the puzzle and play it off. It's almost, there's too many characters going on, in my opinion. But yeah, she plays the daughter of the ex-president. Now, I'm trying to think. She was in It Follows. And then she ended up in Independence Day. But that's all I think I recognized her really from. She has a love interest who was partners with with the Hiller character, and they have so many dynamics going on. So apparently they were together in flight school, and they were like kind of competing, and eventually this character, her love interest, named Jake Morrison, ends up almost killing Dylan Hiller, and so they're kind of not speaking to each other anymore. In fact, they hate each other, blah, blah, blah. But that's played by Liam Hemsworth. Yes, brother of Thor. Liam Hemsworth plays essentially the main character, I guess. He's the main hero of the film. In terms of, genre type stuff, the Hunger Games series, he was in that as Gale Hawthorne. He was also in The Expendables 2 as Billy the Kid. But I'm trying to think, if you've seen the Elephant Princess television program, he plays Marcus. He's never gonna. Chris, his brother Chris has clearly made the name for himself, and so he's going to always be in his shadow. That's essentially what's going to end up happening. Other characters of note are the new president, President Lanford, played by Sella Ward. Yes, we get a female president this time. Genre work is relatively kind of she was in The Haunting of Sarah Hardy, which was a television movie. Double Jeopardy, another television movie. I'm trying to think. Did a whole bunch of comedy and such. She was in The Day After Tomorrow. Clearly, you can see the connection there. But most people are going to know her from her television work in Sisters. She was Teddy Reed Sorensen, and then if you watched Once and Again, she was Lily Manning, and then she's had recurring roles in House and Graves. She's Margaret Graves, and in CSI New York, she's Joe Danville. So she's done a lot, but she is used very little in this film. The president gets to show up a few times to say, yes, attack the aliens. What do you think? Do it. Things like that. Give commands type thing as, president. Unlike in the first film where the president was really there, no, Bill Pullman still plays that role. And Sella Ward is kind of, the new president is kind of kicked to the side. Finally, there is the general of all of these, of the Space Force, General Adams, played by William Fichtner. He is a man who probably not via his name, but definitely when you see him, because he's Colonel Willie Sharp in Armageddon. He's Flanagan in Crash. He's Sanderson in Black Hawk Down. He's been in so many really, really, really awesome things as kind of these side characters that affect things very, very directly. Like Prison Break. He's Alex Mahone. Invasion, he's Sheriff Tom Underlay. In Ultraviolet, he's Garth. He's been in so many things that you know who he is. You know who he is to look at him, but sometimes you just don't remember his name. And that's usually the case with me. I'll be like, that guy, yeah, that guy. I don't know his name. Sorry, Billy, but yeah, I often forget your name. Vivica A. Fox has a small little role in this. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Yeah, there are, but whatever. Not important. They play little bit parts, and such is life. So what do I think about the film? Is it good? Is it bad? It's not as good as the first film. I'll say that right now. The effects, special effects, and all that kind of stuff are top notch. They always are in an Emmerich film. He knows where to spend the money. The biggest problem I have with this film is not so much with the aliens coming back and the Earth fighting it. Whatever, that's fine. I'm okay with that. This is the kind of film where you turn off your thinking cap and just let it go. But the film itself is it doesn't really have a good arc of emotion, of story, of swell, of build, or anything like that. It's very much just go, one set to the next set, to the next set, to the next set, to the next set, one thing to the next. It's just constantly going. Like I said, there's just way too many characters, and one scene is these characters doing something, the next scene is these characters doing something, and there's constant thrill ride, right? It's constant thrill ride. So you don't really have this ability to really let things sink in and affect you and emotionally and stuff like that. And you're probably not really supposed to. You're just supposed to hear the loud explosions and go with it. But whereas the first film did have that emotional ride and tell a good fight story, this one's more. The fight doesn't really feel. You don't feel like there's any downturn. Like even when the Earthlings are losing, you still feel like they're gonna win because there's nothing. It's just the way it goes. Like there's, it's such a short-lived moment where it's like, oh no, we lost all of our things. Hey guys, I think I have an idea. Let's go this way. And then everybody moves off in that direction. You're like, okay, we have another way of dealing with this kind of stuff. So that's my biggest complaint with this film. There's just too much. There's too much stuff going on. There's too many characters, too much stuff crammed into this film, and even at what is it? 2 hours in length. It doesn't feel long. Don't get me. It doesn't feel long. It's because you're constantly going. It just feels like there's so much. There's no real. You don't gravitate towards any one person because you know what? There's so many of them, and person A is going to sacrifice for person B. Person B is going to sacrifice for person C. Person A, oh, they didn't die. Hey, great. Okay, they saved person C and D. Oh, person B didn't die. Oh, they saved person A and C. Oh, well, moving on. Blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, oh my God. Oh, and hey, look, recurring cameo. And it's just constantly. And then you get, on top of the action, you get the jokes. And then on top of the jokes, you get the introducing another character or trying to learn, move forward the idea of how are we going to beat these aliens, oh, that didn't work. How are we going to defeat these aliens? Oh, that didn't work. How are we going to defeat these aliens? Let's try, plan XYZ. And yeah, there's no heart to this film. There really isn't any heart. And the Independence Day thing, really, outside of the fact that, and Bill Pullman gives another great speech. I'll give you that. Bill Pullman gives another great speech. His Independence Day speech is one that people love to quote and such like that. He gives another great one here. And it's not even the one where he references Independence Day. No, he does that in a separate little speech directly to the aliens. And yeah, it's one of those things where you're just like, wow, okay. I don't get it. This is, I don't know. It's one of those things where my questions about this have always been, okay, in the first film we had, airplanes with machine guns and rockets, but their ships were shielded. That was the big thing, right? They still have shields, obviously. In fact, their technology hasn't changed whatsoever. But now we have futuristic planes, and they can go into space as well as be, in Earth's atmosphere, and they use now, I guess, alien laser guns, but they don't have rockets. Okay, so the alien lasers can apparently take out alien shields. They can do enough damage to take them out. Okay. But here's the thing. We see that we have alien shield technology, but apparently we haven't been able to develop a smaller version of it to put it on all of our planes. Okay. Sure. I'll give you that. Though, you might think they would have made a big spaceship. Like a battleship. Something along those lines. This is what I'm kind of thinking. I mean, they've flown all the way out in the middle of the thing. They got these, it doesn't take them long to get to the moon. This is the thing. It doesn't take them long. Like, it's like a trip to the moon is like us flying to, me flying down to Florida. It's like a 4-hour flight maybe. So why isn't there a giant spaceship? Why wasn't there a giant space battle? This is what I was expecting to happen in this film. I was expecting a giant space battle. But I'm guessing that's going to happen in the next film because they say essentially, we're going to take the fight to the aliens and we get the Independence Day 3, so I'm guessing that we're going to have giant space battles. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I just hope that they don't have a ton of returning characters from the first and or the second film in this third film. Some of them, yes, I don't have a problem with that, but I don't need like a page-long list of all these characters are going to be returning or having cameos or having mentions. Just move on and progress the story, and please give me some kind of an arc. Give me some kind of development. Give me some kind of something to, make me feel, not just like heart-pounding action. That action works best when we get some relief and we get, actual story development rather than, small snippets and move on to the next action piece. That would be my suggestion for the next film. Would I recommend this? You know what? If you like any of the Roland Emmerich films, it's worth it. It's worth popping in. It's not a great film. It's not a great film, but it is one of those fun watches. I'll probably watch it 1 billion times because there is a ton of crazy, awesome action. And aliens and fighting and just nuts stuff. I gotta watch Independence Day and this one like back to back. But yeah, it's definitely not. If you're not in that mindset, then don't bother with it. You like aliens, you like action, adventure, sci-fi. And some of you may be thinking, why are you, it's not a horror movie. Well, if aliens are invading the Earth, I'm sorry, but that's horrific. Yes, it is considered sci-fi, and yes, I consider the old sci-fi films of old, where there's aliens, as long as they're not like peaceful aliens who are just having, hey, how's it going type thing. If they're coming to kill you, those are evil aliens. They are like creatures. They are like monsters, so therefore it's horror. It's no different. I mean, it doesn't have to be dark and scary and dreary to be a horror film. It just has to be something that could be scary. I mean, if you believe in aliens, this kind of stuff would freak you out. I mean, for people who believe in ghosts, ghost films are really, really scary. For people who don't believe in ghosts, they're less scary. Same thing goes with aliens. People who believe in aliens and maybe think they were abducted, alien invasion films, scary shit. So, that's all I'm going to say about that. But, yeah. if you're into that whole alien invasion of any sort, you know, be it pod people, be it, you know, crits, or be it, you know, the Predator and Alien type stuff, or Independence Day, whatever it is, whatever kind of alien that's coming to take us out. If that's your boat, like it is mine, then yeah, this is definitely getting a recommend. It's not going to be up on, you know, top of the list, but it's on the list, man. It's on the list of stuff to check out. It's worthwhile. But if I had to rate it, film is like a 2.5 out of 5, but I might bump it up to 3 because, you know, it was like done in 3D and it has like everything I like. So I didn't enjoy it as much as I wished I had, but I still, you know, I love spaceships blowing stuff up, aliens and fighting aliens. So we'll say 2.5 out of 5, but inching towards 3. How's that? So yeah, there you go. Another 31 Days of Horror 2018 review, Independence Day Resurgence here. Let me know if you've seen the film. Comment down below what you thought about it. Keep it spoiler free as always. Thanks for watching. More 31 Days of Horror coverage and reviews coming up soon. So stick around and check them out. Yeah, thanks for watching. Till next video, take care. Have a good one.